Welcome to your tour of an effective scheduling cycle. Effective scheduling makes volunteering easy while cutting costs and frustration. When scheduling is effective, people are scheduled fairly at times that work well for them. They know when they are scheduled, and they can find a sub if they can't make it, which makes volunteering easy. Also, the tedious work involved in scheduling is minimized, which cuts costs and frustration. In this tour, you'll see how VSP implements effective scheduling. In this first chapter, we'll give a brief overview of how to set up VSP and see how to enter volunteer preferences and availability, which will allow you to schedule your volunteers fairly at times that work well for them. We'll also go over how online enrollment reduces tedious data entry work and makes it easy to enlist new volunteers. First, let's go over some key concepts. This is VSP's main screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can maneuver between the different sections of the program, called panes. When setting up VSP, the basic three pieces of information that need to be entered into the program are your volunteers, jobs, and your recurring shifts. Let's start in the Jobs pane. VSP can be used to schedule literally any task. You'll create your jobs by clicking the New Job button. The job titles can be customized for your organization. In this example, we filled in jobs from a volunteer health clinic. Then, in the Recurring Shifts pane, you'll enter your recurring shifts and the number of volunteers that are required at each. In this example, we filled in a morning weekday shift, an afternoon weekday shift, and an all-day shift on the weekends. Then, on the Volunteers pane, you'll enter your volunteers. Volunteers can be entered into VSP one at a time, imported from a spreadsheet, and they can also enroll online. By clicking on an existing volunteer in the list, you can see a brief overview of the selected volunteer's information in the Quick View. By opening a volunteer's profile, you can view all of the information for that volunteer on one single screen. On the left-hand side is the volunteer's personal and contact information. On the right-hand side of the window, you can see the scheduling parameters for this volunteer. You can see which jobs the volunteer is qualified to work in. You can also see at which shifts the volunteer prefers to serve, and any dates and times at which the volunteer cannot serve. VSP can accommodate even very complex patterns of availability. For example, a volunteer cannot serve at the weekday morning shift for the month of February. Just click the Add button, choose the weekday morning shift, and then specify only the month of February, like this. Volunteers can also update their own preferences and availability through the web terminal, which we'll see later in this tour. You can also specify the frequency with which a volunteer should be scheduled. For instance, if Annie Bowman can only work 20 hours per week, you can specify that like this. Now let's look at how new volunteers can enroll online, which reduces data entry work and makes it easy to enlist new volunteers. This is what the web page looks like that your volunteers will use to log in to check and update their schedules online. New volunteers that are not yet entered into VSP can click the Sign Up Now link to fill out a customizable enrollment form. In addition to providing their basic contact information, volunteers can indicate their shift preferences and any unavailable times by clicking the corresponding options. When an enrollment form is submitted, it is placed in a virtual stack of forms inside VSP, which we'll see later in this demo series, and it can then be processed with the click of a button, creating the new volunteer in VSP with the appropriate settings. You've just seen an overview of some key concepts in VSP, and how the program is used to track preferences and availability, which will allow you to schedule your volunteers fairly at times that work well for them. You've also seen how online enrollment reduces data entry work and makes it easy to enlist new volunteers. We invite you to view the next chapter in this series to see how easy it is to create absolutely fair, professionally formatted schedules.